Welcome to the Lyster Health Talks Podcast, hosted by Lieutenant Colonel Garrett Holt, the commander of Lyster Army Health Clinic and the Health Services Director at Fort Novacell. Each month, listen in as the team focuses their discussion on relevant, relatable content that empowers your health and the readiness of the force. We have a very special show planned for you as we pay homage to the month of the military child. Join us now for, Hey, weren't you born here?
Well, hey, folks, this is Lieutenant Colonel Garrett Holt, the commander for Lyster Army Health Clinic. I am really excited that we are starting our first podcast, the first of very many. I was really excited about the idea starting this podcast because one thing that struck me about Lyster is the enormous wealth of competence that we have in our professionals here. But we also wanted to start this month because the month of April has a lot of celebrations with it, particularly this one. Happy birthday again, Aviation Branch, 40th, big one. But also in this month is the month of the military child. And while we get prepared to purple up and celebrate the many great sacrifices as well as the successes of our kids and all of the military children, I also wanted to take a moment and say, hey, this is a great way to kind of start the content for our podcast based off some special testimonies and other aspects from our team. So before I get too far ahead of myself, we're really excited about bringing you relevant and relatable content to be really, for you to start your day and start your month. We want to do this monthly. It may be more frequently, but at least monthly. And we're really excited about the opportunity. So I want to dive in because I'm really excited about the guests that I have. These are four of well-known professionals within our midst, within Lyster. And as well as many of you on Fort Novacell are going to know many of the names and many of the voices here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to go around the room a little bit and have you each introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit, give me your name, of course, but tell me also what you do here at Lyster, and we'll start over here to my left.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joni Martin. I am a social worker with a family advocacy program at Lyster.
That's great, Joni. Joni, how long have you been with us?
I have been at Lyster for 13 years.
Oh, wow. That's great. Wonderful. Well, go on over.
Doug Pawlik. I'm a physical therapist here at Lyster.
And Doug, how long have you been with us?
I was stationed here actually as the chief of physical therapy from 95 to 98, and in 2008 was able to come back as a civilian.
Oh, that's great. So my guess is that you've seen some of the soldiers on this post come through as warrant officer ones or lieutenants, and now you're seeing them as some of your 06 patients as well, my guess.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's
yes.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Named. We'll keep going, Teresa.
Oh, I'm Teresa Waterworth. I am the referral nurse here at Lyster Army Health Clinic, and I have been here a year and a half.
A year and a half. But how long have you been in the Wiregrass?
I have been in the Wiregrass almost my entire life.
Okay. So my guess is that not only are the listeners from Fort Novacell, will they know you really well, many of the folks that are off post as well.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. Excellent. And let's see, last but certainly not least.
My name is Cynthia Howell, and I am a nurse. I work in primary care and part of the GYN team.
Oh, that's great. And remind me how long you've been with us.
I have been with Lyster for almost 8 years now.
Almost 8 years. So again, another known entity. My guess is that on the line right now, as people are starting to listen, like, I know those voices. And I told each of you, you're going to have celebrity status coming out here. I heard you on the radio, now on the podcast, the Great Lyster Podcast. It's pretty exciting. Well, again, I think what's also fun is not only the benefit that you bring to the community and how exciting that is, but we specifically handpicked you, not because of how awesome you are, but not only because of how awesome you are, I should say, but also I think you each have a little bit of a separate tie or special tie to Lyster. And so I wanted to go around and give you an opportunity to tell me a little bit more about that. And I'm looking forward to having a little bit more discussion as we dig in. So Joni, why don't we start with you? What's your special tie to Lyster?
Well, I was actually born at Lyster back in the 60s. We won't go into the specific date. My father was a pilot, and I was really fortunate enough to be born at Lyster and get all of my health care at Lyster until I was in my 20s and I got married.
Oh, my word.
Right.
So you have seen it. And so have you, like, from the time that earlier on when you were got to see your early care as a kiddo here, until now. Did you also come to Lyster pretty frequently, or what was your experience and time with us before then?
Okay, so everything that I had done in my childhood was done at Lyster, from surgeries to all of my well checks, all of my shots, all of those things. Then I took a break for a while and was really excited when the opportunity came for me to be able to come back and kind of pay it forward a little bit and work with the families in the military community here, particularly in the flight community, because that was such a big part of my life. So I was very excited to be able to come back and pay it forward a bit.
Oh, that's great. That's so exciting. It's such a fun story to hear too, because I think there's so many people that have that similar stories of how they tie into Lyster, and how, it's just fun, because what struck me when I first got here was how many folks have different ties, and not just folks that are assigned to Lyster or even Fort Novosel, but inside the Wiregrass. And many of those stories are here. So thanks, Joni, for that. Doug, why don't we go over to you? What's your special tie to Lyster?
Yes, sir. I too was born at Fort Rucker, and my father was a career Army aviation officer, and my oldest brother was a career Army aviator, and I have a son who's in flight school right now. So Army aviation runs deep in the family, and so getting the opportunity to come back, be stationed here it was like coming home, and then to get that opportunity again as a civilian was really special. Yeah,
that's great, man. It doesn't seem like you had any other choice. You were coming back home to Lyster. That's
yes,
great.
Sir.
That's been fun to, I know it's a big, it's the thing that you hear when you first come in the gate is welcome home. And I think that really resonates with our community as well as our patients, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thanks, Doug, for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Teresa, how about you?
Well, I'm the person who wasn't born at Lyster Army Health or at Lyster Hospital, as it was called in the day, but I am the person who delivered at Lyster. My son is 36 years ago, so 36 years ago, this past February, I was walking that really long hallway to go up the elevator to go to labor and delivery.
Those hallways are enormous. They are very, very long. I mean, that seems like, I think, Joe, you were telling me a while ago that's like what you iconically remember.
Yes, they haven't changed.
Isn't it crazy? I know that's true too. As I help to guide patients and down our halls, and there's only two major ones, right? They go crisscross a few of them, smaller ones, but the long ones are so funny because you're like, yeah, you just keep going. And when you think you haven't gone far enough, you just keep going.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks, Teresa. And Cynthia, how about you?
I also was born at Lyster back in the 60s as well. Both my mother and my father are retired military, so I've been in this general area since '82.
Oh my goodness! Tell me a memory that you remember from the hospital that you're like, man. Some were hallways, but I remember there was none of the clinics are where they are right now. They were moved to different places, right? I mean, there was different clinics in different spaces right now.
Yes, sir. I specifically remember where the pharmacy was located.
Oh, yeah.
That was when you first came in, just a little ways. The lab is located there now.
Okay.
So, but that used to be, and I remember seeing all the windows and just having people sit around, and that was pretty much my memory of Lyster.
My understanding is the waits now are a lot better.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
How, if you don't mind me, how long did you wait back in the day?
I was a kid. I don't remember.
Played around with
We brought a coloring book.
We brought a coloring book. That's good. Well, hopefully now, Foot Stomp Q Anywhere. Shameless plug for Q Anywhere. It's
Yes.
much sooner. But that's awesome. That's fantastic. Doug, what was in the PT area? Remind me.
So that was, honestly, back then, I don't even recall what was right there.
Where was PT before when you were the chief?
So physical therapy was just the hall. Where our waiting room currently is where the physical therapy department always was. Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah, that's
yes,
great.
Sir. We had whirlpools in there.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Well, definitely advanced by a lot. Nice windows for sure.
Yes, sir.
Big
Yeah, that's a
sticky.
good change. It absolutely
I don't
is.
know if I'm supposed to change all the stickers on the walls yet or not, because we got the old PTs on there, but it's hard to believe now. I've one of those that says I was wearing the old PTs. That's hard to believe, but that's funny. Joni, tell me where was behavioral health, or let's see, because what was in the BH room?
Well, where behavioral health is right now was the emergency room. So I've had casts and stitches and flu tests and all kinds of things done where I work right now. But so behavioral health, where the awning is on the side of the building, that was the emergency ambulance exit and entrance right there. So yeah, I have an office in what used to be an ER suite.
Oh my word. Isn't that funny? And one where sounds like you may have had stitches actually done.
I had several things done there for 20 something years. So all of my health care, and I was at that ER quite a bit. And there was a big waiting room. When you head down that first main hallway to the left, there was a big long waiting room that was the ER waiting room, typical of what you would see at any ER.
Sure.
There was a lot of waiting that was done there as well.
Sure. And refresh my memory, where primary care is right now, that was an addition, not recently, but based off the original design, right? Is that correct? That's interesting.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And then upstairs where the VA now, it was the ORs and the ICU, all the inpatient.
And hospital rooms.
Yeah, that's
labor and delivery.
That is so fascinating. Wow, that's really great. My memories only stretch back about 7 or 8 months, but it's fun to hear. And of course, the pictures in our halls are worth just passing by and seeing, like the previous location, I guess, where behind where you used to roll back in the woods in the pines. Where did y'all had a chance to visit? Was that also a place at the time? Doug, you're nodding, yeah.
There were, even when Lyster was open, there were still some medical offices there at one time. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So really quick, I want to break to another topic, really. And I'm just kind of interested to hear, what, I know we talked about it a little bit, but what pulled you back to Lyster? Like what got you back to Lyster? And I know I'd love to say it was Holt, but again, I've only been here for a few days, so it's certainly you just have to endure me. But what brought you to Lyster? Teresa, why don't I go over to you first?
Well, I'll tell you, I was one of those people who started my journey to attempt to get a position at Lyster years and years ago, and then just sort of gave up. And one day I saw this job announcement for a job that I thought I was highly qualified for. I applied for it and was fortunate enough to get that position.
Oh, that's great. That is wonderful. Sometimes it takes a few tries.
Yes, sir.
But
it's been well worth it.
That's great. That's wonderful. Cynthia, how about you?
I also had applied multiple times to try and get on at Lyster, and I guess I just got lucky, and my coin after the third time finally came up, and I was able to get on, and I have enjoyed being here.
Well, I know we're very fortunate to have you in our midst as well, and it's awesome to see the talent. What strikes me is, as I'm already hearing, I'm sure I'll hear it some more, is the desire to come to Lyster. It's not just I had no other choices. I persisted. I wanted to be a part of this, even if it took 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I'm part of Lyster.
I knew I did because I actually done my clinicals here when I was a nursing student.
Oh, wow.
So I got to go into the labor and delivery while I was doing my clinical rotation through here, and it was awesome, and I knew this is where I wanted to be.
Oh, man. It's, again, almost like you had no choice. It was just the next chapter in
Most
the book
definitely.
of Lyster. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Doug, what about you? What brought you? Well, of course, your military assignment brought you here, but of course, once the choices started to become more overflowing for you, what brought you to Lyster?
Yes, sir. Yeah, again, Lyster is coming home. And so, at the risk of sounding corny, it really is much more than a place you just come to work. It's, growing up here, and I received physical therapy when I was a kid here. And so, to be able to come here and be a physical therapist, it's really, really special.
Yeah, well, I know that it's fun to see the patients leave. I would say most of them leave with smiles. Some of them are still a little sore from the what's going on behind the glass, but that's wonderful. Well, thanks, Doug. Joni, how about you? What brought you to Lyster?
When I was young, my father deployed several times. My family stayed here in the area, and when this really is home, and Lyster really is a home medical clinic for me. And I was so excited after I got my degree in social work and did my time out in the community to have the opportunity to come back to Lyster to work with military families. And in family advocacy, we work with the entire family, children all the way up to the adults, and in every aspect of their lives. And it was just really a goal, a desire to come back and pay it forward again, give back a little bit to the military families of, how they took care of us during that time when I was a child, especially when my father was deployed.
That's great, man. That's great. And I can tell you, man, this is just a small representation of the vast everybody at the clinic. It's just really awesome to be able to walk in and see the genuine smiles. Not everybody has a good day every single day. I got it. But, man, we're working so hard, but it is so fun to see the joy that comes as people are walking in the clinic and walking out too, because after a satisfying day of health, delivering the benefit to our beneficiaries. Well, this is awesome. I just want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this. The first one. This is excellent. I want to close with giving you each a little bit of an opportunity to either plug something. We're wanting to improve the health here of Fort Novacell as well as our beneficiaries, but I'm sure many others will benefit. So I want to give you an opportunity, and I'll start over here with PT and Dr. Pawlik. Doug, why don't you give us a plug? What's going on in your world?
Yes, sir. Well, in physical therapy, we have a couple of things going on. There's on Tuesday afternoons from 1300 to 1500, we do have some walk-in hours for injuries that are less than 3 months old. There's also the ACFT optimization class that's done with the Wellness Center. And so if you want to improve that ACFT score, call the Wellness Center. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, that's great, Doug. I appreciate that. That is... I love that we are tied in. I mean, obviously we are here to keep aviators in the air, and PT shows it day in and day out. Shoot them down there between the gym or even just passing by the window. You can tell the aviators are in there. Like I said, sometimes they're gritting their teeth as they're getting through the pain of some good physical therapy. But those are some just great initiatives, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. Joni, how about you? What you got for the team?
Well, in family advocacy, like I said a little bit ago, we work with the entire family, and one of my favorite things that I provide to the community is a relationship skills and communication skills education group on Thursdays at 10. And it's an open group. Anyone can come to that. It's one of my favorite things because we just learn skills there that help you communicate and resolve conflicts across the board, but particularly within families. And, family advocacy is always available to assist commands when they're having issues related to families within the unit, and to assist any family-related situation that we could provide care for.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know my time is drawing near, but I like to plug that, sometimes there's stigmas related to things like FAP and behavioral health, but you know what? It's there for a good reason, right?
I can't tell you how many people have come to us because they were forced to come to us, and then when they got there, they were like, oh, I wish I had come and gotten this help before somebody forced me. This really is a good program, and so there's a lot there that we can do to help families move forward and to support them in every aspect of their lives.
Yeah, it's hard to catch up on health, but I think family health, it's even more so. It turns out there's more than one that you have to work through. That's great. Thank you so much. Teresa, how about you? What you got for the group?
Well, I guess what I would really like to say is one of the things that I appreciate more than anything else working here at Lyster is the soldiers, the retirees, their family members, and the respect that they provide to us as employees. This is something that you sometimes do not see in the civilian world. I love when they come in, we are able to assist them in our department. We're able to solve a problem that they have maybe been working on for weeks. The gratitude that they show is something that I can't even describe. I've had people hug me. I've had people high-five me, and all those sorts of things. So I love it. I love the fact that these people also provide information about activities they're involved in within the community when they come in. So not only are they just soldiers and supporting our nation, but they're also active members in our community.
I love that. I love that. I think community carries the day, and that speaks to it. It is such a great fortune to be able, and a privilege to be able to serve this population. So I think that echoes through our halls for sure. So Cynthia, how about you close us out? What you got for the group?
Well, as I said earlier, I am part of the GYN team at Lyster, and we recently initiated a walk-in contraceptive clinic. It is for active duty as well as dependents. It is every Thursday from 12:45 to 3:30. It is a walk-in clinic, so it's first come, first serve. But we will take care of anything that you want. We could do contraceptive counseling, anything like that, and get everybody taken care of.
That's wonderful. Wow, there's a lot to digest in this. It's like 4 episodes worth just in one. And I know we took a little bit of time today, because it's the first, and we also had a handful of guests with a lot of good content. But I also want to thank you guys for coming here because you've clearly been a huge part of the lineage of Lyster, and I think how appropriate is it to start the next chapter and this awesome new initiative with the podcast with folks who have been tied to us so endearly throughout the years, from sometimes birth, but through your education and also through some of your leadership and your professional career. So thank you again for being a part of this. And to all our listeners, we want to thank you for dialing into us today and listening in to the very first of many podcasts. We're excited about the way ahead and the many things that we're going to provide. I want to encourage you to follow our Facebook, watch our website. Lots of this information is already posted, but, this is just another way that we engage with you, our community. We just really appreciate it, and we consider it a pleasure and a fortune to work alongside with you every single day to keep aviators in the air, which means taking care of families and our soldiers for life. And so we just want to thank you. This is Lieutenant Colonel Holt signing off and reminding you that your healthiest chapter is ahead, and that the only way is forward. Fly Army.
The Lyster Health Talks podcast is produced by the Lyster Army Health Clinic's Public Affairs Office at Fort Novosel. Join us in May as we discuss Mental Health Month with our behavioral health team. Stay healthy, Fort Novosel.